You guys, Jake, decided to take this to Netflix. And I read an interview with you and you and Antoine Fuqua, the director, and you were talking about how it's a great movie for streaming. It could be on a big screen, but also it's such an intimate movie. You could see it on a television as well. But with Netflix, the audience has the power to turn it off if they get bored. And I just wondered, when you were developing the movie and the script, were you hyper aware of that? Because you guys do a great job in just, it grabs you from the beginning. Things keep happening every minute. You can't turn it off. But I just wondered how much of the fact that it was going to be on Netflix, people were going to be watching it that way, affected the way you constructed the thriller.
I mean, when I saw the original film, which also takes place in one room, what I thought was, this type of storytelling, I find it to be a challenge more and more. I like to give myself challenges, and I also like to think of these different mediums with which we are now sort of, as you said, relegated to kind of moving through as storytellers. How can we use them to our advantage? I think a thriller, depending on the size and scope of it, is really a kind of great place for a streamer, because so often, there are these numbers you get of like how many people watched it and how many people watched the whole thing and how many people turned it off after how much time. And I think, yes, it's a fun challenge as a storyteller to say, can I keep you the whole time? And particularly, I would think in series, how do we keep them for the next one to the next one? But what I think is, how do you keep them from moment to moment? You have to squeeze all that sort of like that series idea and make the movie in that space. So yes, in storytelling, we had a pretty secure structure. I was very sure of that. And then as we got into post, because what we did was we shot 20 pages a day, and there were 20-minute long takes, and we would have all the actors on Zoom, and then they would be cued by our ID. We'd choreograph in the morning, kind of how it would work. And we had actors in Australia and New York and LA and all different time zones. And they would, depending on whether they were calling in or I was calling them, would be cued. And it was really about, that was about getting a rhythm right within that period of time. And as we got into post, it was like the pushing and pulling of how we ease and how we ratchet up that tension was very much in the last minute of delivering it to Netflix. It was like, how can we keep them there? And minute 40, are you going to turn it off? Like it's an easy click. You didn't walk to the theater. You didn't drive to the theater. You didn't spend 15 minutes looking for parking. Like, you're in your bed. Can we keep you here? And yes, I think it was a huge part of it.
Well, I was literally shook to my core when I had read that Antoine was in a van with monitors because, as Jess said, he had been exposed and directed you from afar. And did that make it okay for you in the sense that you guys had worked together before? You knew what type of director he was. You knew what you needed to do. Was there ever a moment of like, oh my God, we're going to shut down? Or was it like, we got this, you and I know each other, we're fine?
There was a sort of, we got this, but there was also sort of I think when you're in movie mode, there's sort of nothing more important, and you'll figure out any possible way you can to make sure that you don't lose the thing, right? Like, I think you guys talk to many more filmmakers than I do, and many more than I do. And I think that, the seriousness with which we all take it is absurd, but there's no way we could have gotten it done without that seriousness. So, when we hit that moment, it was like, oh my God, we're probably going to shut down. I mean, there was an hour there where no one knew what to do. And then all of a sudden, like anything you're trying to get done, we thought, let's find solutions. And we just started trying to figure out solutions. In terms of the creative relationship, I had no doubt. I don't have any doubt with Antoine, and I hope that he would say the same about me. Whether he's 100 miles away or right next to me, like, he knows I'll do anything for him and go anywhere for him. And he knows how to prepare a set for me. He knows how to tell his crew about a scene, and we've been through a lot already, and we are friends. So the first thing that happened was a call to Antoine when I got that news. And the first thing he said was, we don't stop. So I was like, okay, we don't stop. He's like, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm like, I know, but maybe tomorrow you won't be. He's like, I'll be fine, And we just step by step. And I mean, I love him. So, I mean, obviously not as much as Jamie Lee Curtis, but I love him.